local stories you care about.
News Talk 1330 WLBB, Carrollton.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice program, our show brought to you by Tanner Health System here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. And also this morning, you can check us out on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can already get a glimpse at my handsome young guest who has joined us this morning. Senator Michael Dugan, District 30 out of Carrollton. He is also the Senate Majority Leader, and we're going to kind of recap the session, which just ended last Tuesday, I guess a week from
April
tomorrow.
2nd.
Just ended. We'll talk about some of the bills that were approved, some that didn't approve, may have almost approved, should have been approved, shouldn't have been approved, and how many bills, if any, that Mr. Dugan, thinks the governor may put a veto on. So, again, good morning, and thank you for joining.
Thank you. It's always good to be here.
Yeah, you didn't get my memo that we're wearing sweatshirts this morning.
You know, I didn't know we were going to be on, and I was going to tell people I'd never seen you in a coat and tie before, but now that's been blown.
It's still true. No, your first session as Senate Majority Leader, I guess. Can you give us a summary on that? The feelings? I mean, was it what you expected? Did you? I would like to talk about your relationship with the media too. How you felt the Atlanta media treated you well. But as far as that, your first session as Senate Majority Leader, is it just busy? Are you being bombarded with ideas and suggestions and pressure the whole time?
Yeah, it's a little bit busier. It's I had a kind of a rough little first couple of weeks, and that was anytime you move into a new job. You don't see where everything's coming at you from right off the offset, but after that, it's slowed down. It's kind of like when you hear people play a game, it starts slowing down for you after a minute. The biggest thing was towards the end of the session, the last month, I guess, when I look at my calendar and I notice that my meetings are in 15-minute increments, and my assistant up there comes in at 15 minutes and goes, the next group is here. So, yeah, it's a little bit busier. So, and then first meeting's at 7:30, next one's at 8, next one's at 8:30, then 9, and then session starts at 10. So it goes like that until late evening.
Early on in the session, there was a bill that, I'm always looking to see if what our senators are doing, what our House reps are doing, and there was an article in the Atlanta paper, and I forgot what it was even at this point, and the way it was written, it just didn't seem like you. It didn't make sense to me, so I did call you to say, hey, what's up with this? And you're like, yeah, that probably wasn't the way it was. But do you see a lot of that with, I guess, this first session as Senate Majority Leader?
Fairness in reporting is that one. When you understand the Atlanta media market is a for-profit entity or entities.
Not like us who are nonprofit, apparently.
But I mean, they're selling ad space or commercial space to people in their area. So what I was kind of thankful for is they actually went from just hard against us early on to kind of neutral towards the end of the session. And one of the things that I started this time that we haven't done is I invited them in every Wednesday afternoon. They could sit in my office and ask me anything they wanted to ask, and I'd give them an answer. And then from what I understand, that had not happened until all the way back to right when the Republicans took the majority in the Senate. The majority leader at that time did it for a year, and then they've stopped doing it. So
because of like discomfort in talking to the press, or feeling like maybe
you're always worried that they're going to take what you say and take a snippet out of 30 minutes of conversation and put one line in there which totally looks different than the whole gist of the conversation. And they have been known to do that. But when you put it out there, so look, I'll answer anything you want to answer, and you don't have to try to sneak up on me in the hallway. You can come sit and talk to me in the office. It's that you make their job easier and give them information from your perspective that can explain it, and they'll actually print some of it.
You being put in this seat this year at the beginning of this two-year term, the gentleman he replaced, he's still a senator, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was just, I guess, asked not to run again or told that he would not be in that seat this year, and you were put in there. Was there any kind of
No, he ran.
Oh, he ran for it.
Yeah.
Was there any kind of discomfort? Was he helpful?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He just, we decided we wanted to go in a different direction than the direction he was taking us, and so he ran, and fortunately for me, I guess, I won. So.
And fortunately for the whole state of Georgia.
Yeah.
District 30 State Senator Mike Dugan, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Also, obviously, as we're discussing, he is the Senate Majority Leader for the Georgia Senate. I guess first of all, maybe talk about the medical marijuana bill.
Mm-hmm.
Did that one? Do you feel comfortable with how that's presented, how it's decided, and who will distribute or who will be able to manufacture medical marijuana?
Well, we haven't decided who's going to do it yet.
Well, as far as the definitions
Yeah.
of who can do it.
There was a lot of consternation about that one. That was one of the ones that was worked probably as much as any particular piece of legislation this time. And just put it in perspective, we're talking about 9 acres total, right? That's the amount of acreage that will be allowed to be cultivated under some extremely strict guidelines and scrutiny. So, everybody's thinking we're going to have harvesting all across the state. 9 acres. So since I've been there, we've done something one way or another on the low THC medical component. And then the issue was, and we looked at different things. We looked at the state buying it from Florida, where they have medical growth, and bringing it in, and that wasn't cost prohibitive to do that.
You talk about 9 acres here. How many acres, I guess, is Florida doing? Do they not have limitation on that? Yeah.
I don't know the total acreage down there. I know that you couldn't buy it from any state that has recreational. You can't. If I understand that those that they're bidding on are submitting to be able to cultivate here can't be involved in any recreational component anywhere else in the country. So it's really, really strict guidelines. But within the federal side of it, they can't say there's no medicinal purposes when they've okayed a few different drugs that are low THC. Mm-hmm. So it either has it or it doesn't. And I think that's the scariest part. And people think that we're going down the road towards recreational, and that's not the direction we're going.
You don't think that has the potential, though? I mean, after this year, you may decide that 9 acres is not enough to serve the clientele.
Well, 9 right now will not be enough to serve the clientele because you got to grow it, and right now it's not growing anywhere. And then you got to grow it, you got to process it, you got to test it, and that's part of it. Is you got, especially when you're talking some of it with the kids with the seizures, you have no idea what you're getting from some of these other places. So that was part of the concern. Is you don't want the snake oil coming via the Postal Service, which is legal right now, strangely enough. So we wanted to control it.
Not to put these two drugs together in people's minds during our discussion here, but opioids. This is a good time for me to promote Grady Communications. News Talk 1330 is hosting a forum on the opioid issue here in Carroll County. It'll be Wednesday the 24th, I believe, at 11 o'clock, 11:30 at City Station. Yeah. And we'll be providing a lunch, and the public is invited to attend. I think you're going to hear some promotions on our stations here, plenty here in the near future. Mike Dugan is sponsor of that event?
I'm not. I am.
I've
sponsored a couple of them. I couldn't remember if I'd gotten this one or not. Oh, yes. I did get one. Thank you for the opportunity. I see Steve in the background back there.
That is Wednesday, the 24th. Yeah. So, and again, we will talk more about that. The opioids discussed in this session.
Every session.
Yeah.
It's an epidemic that's ravaging the country. I think when I was on here before, you look at the number of opioid deaths, related deaths in the United States last year, and that was more than we had in Vietnam during the entire conflict.
Wow.
So, it's a lot of people dying.
And think about Vietnam, average age 19, but there's not an age to pinpoint with the opioid. Yeah.
No, and it creates so many other issues that go along with it. That there's concerns that may contribute to some of the mental health issues we're having across the state, is one a factor in the other. And I think most people would say yes, that the two contribute to each other. Any way we can find to reduce opioid abuse, we're going to try to do it.
District 30 State Senator Mike Dugan out of Carrollton, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Questions and comments, feel free to call us up at 678-601-8255, 678-601-TALK. Also, if you post some comments or questions up on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page, I'll take a peek at those and pass those along to Senator Dugan this morning. We'll take our first break, come back with more of this program, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org. or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. And this morning you can catch us on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. So appreciate your comments and questions you're posting up there. Big good morning to our pal Jay Gill, who's watching this. He will be watching this. He should be in his car right now watching us on Facebook Live.
He should not be in his car.
That is not the case. Yeah. Also, Leslie McPherson watching us this morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Talking with State Senator Mike Dugan, District 30, representative out of Carrollton, and talking about some of the bills that were passed and at least discussed and maybe not passed during this most recent session. Let's go to schools. Teachers got a raise in this year's budget.
Yeah, the teachers we approved a $3,000 raise for them. On top of, was still fully funded in QBE. There was obviously some consternation about an ESA, Education Savings Account, piece of legislation that didn't pass. There's a variation of that is still alive that I anticipate will come back next year. Some of the differences in the two, the number of those eligible has gone down a little bit.
Education, is this the bill where if you say you're attending a public school, have to be attending a public school at the point the bill's approved, and if your child's being bullied or they're not happy with the education, they can use the money they pay for taxes to go to spend on private school? Is that the same bill?
It's been modified.
Or a variation of that? Okay.
The bullying now is it goes into as defined by Georgia code. So you can't just walk up one day and say, so-and-so bullied me, I'm taking my ESA and going someplace else.
So you have to have a legitimate reason to be able to do that. You can't just, okay.
Yes.
I got you.
Now, we're fortunate around here where...
but again, that bill has not been approved yet. So
there's another one. The base in that thing that was important to me was that won't be at the fate of QBE. QB will still be fully funded first, because constitutionally there are two things that we're required to do, and that's pass a balanced budget and educate our youth. So we obviously spend a lot of our money, over 50% of our budget each year goes to education. And we obviously spend a lot of time on trying to figure out how to improve education quality across the state.
Do seniors in Carroll County pay taxes, school taxes?
That's a county question.
Well, right, and I only asked that because, like Trey, the cat out of Northern Haralson County, he's
Kelly?
Yeah, Trey Kelly. He brought forth a bill to so that Haralson County seniors wouldn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah,
and I would say to do that, I guess it would be your responsibility to get legislators to approve that if Carroll County wants something like that.
It's kind of the way you described it is like we bring it up. No, it's with the Haralson County, or I guess it'd be Polk County. Polk County County Commission puts together a request to change anything like that. It has to have legislative approval. We don't bring that stuff up.
Okay.
That's when they have to come forward, and different ones have different requirements. Or like with our area, our district here, it has to be unanimous, because what we don't want to do is get in the middle of a family feud back here at the local level.
You mean locally anonymous? I mean, it have to be you, Nix, Cook.
No, I'm talking about like if it's a county commission.
The county commission have to get it started. Okay,
yes.
But you guys would have to. I mean, but you guys all have a piece of the county, wouldn't you guys have to agree on it to take it forward?
We have to have over 50% of the legislators.
Right.
So, like Carroll County, me and Senator Brass. Technically, one of us could veto the other one, because if one of us does not sign, you don't have to vote against. You just don't sign the legislation. Then you don't have over 50%. So, and same way with me and Senator Heath and Paulding and Senator James and Douglas.
So you have you don't have a portion of Haralson County. You don't have Bremen or anything like that.
I have a little bit of Bremen, but
Bremen
comes across into Carroll County.
Well, Bremen right now, they've wanted to raise their hotel motel tax. Bremen City apparently has asked for that like the last 3 years. And Heath has gone on record saying, I'm probably not going to present it. He's just, against raising any taxes at all. And I think for the majority of the time he has voted against, if not every time, voted against any kind of tax raise. Why can't Bremen go to you to take that to the committee?
Because it takes both of us, because there's the other part of incorporated Bremen is in Haralson County. And Senator Heath and I have talked about that a few times, and you're right. He has very little desire to bring that forward.
8:47 right now. Let me try and go back to the schools discussion. There was a bill that also would allow homeschooled students to play sports for public schools.
The Tim Tebow bill.
Right.
Unfortunate name for Georgia piece of legislation. That was the Senator Thompson from Cherokee County, and he brought it forward. It's modeled after several different states. All of them do it a little bit differently. This one obviously comes out of Florida, but Virginia has a model. The concern is that that people would just start moving, and you'd have free agents out there. I looked at it more along the lines of the way this one was written is, you can do that, but you have to play in the district where you would be assigned to go to school, and then and then if you move, you fall under the same rules as any other kid and any other that actually goes to a brick and mortar school in the state would have to comply with. And I don't see it. Everybody always looks at it like you're doing football, but what if it's drama or band or robotics club or something else? It's not always just sports.
Will that one come back next year, you think? Next session?
It's not dead.
Yeah.
It's still alive.
It made it across the halfway point.
Yeah. It passed the Senate. It's in the House.
Yeah. Michael Dugan, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. We'll take our final break right here and come back and talk about two religious-related bills. We'll talk about RFRA, which didn't make it through this year, and new restrictions on abortion-type bill, which was passed this year and will be put before the governor to sign. Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. And also this morning, we're on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. And I'll take a peek here during our break, see if we have any questions or comments for Senator Dugan. More after this.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama. Because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
850, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. Our guest this morning is District 30 State Senator Mike Dugan out of Carrollton, also the Senate Majority Leader, again, for the state of Georgia. Talking about some bills that did pass, didn't pass, and other shenanigans and goings-on in this year's legislative session. Before the break, kind of teased a topic we could start out with. RFRA, something that's important to a lot of people, especially in West Georgia. You and I had actually talked at some point, almost about 2-3 weeks ago. You weren't confident it was going to make it through.
No, the matter of fact, it wasn't even introduced. And the reason it wasn't is that both the governor and the lieutenant governor have a plan they want to do between this session we just got out of and the one coming up, and that's to sit down with us, business leaders within the state, religious community within the state, and actually try to work something out in a cohesive manner rather than throwing something out there and seeing where it goes. So because of that, they asked, please don't. We got enough stuff going on right now. Don't introduce this one. Let us have the opportunity to put something together to bring forward to you next year. So we agreed that we would just wait and let them do what they're going to do during this off session. So that's where that sits right now.
But most people in support of this, I mean, I think a lot of people who just pointed out were basically going to copy it from the federal bill. Why would that take? I mean, I don't have a problem with them wanting to talk to these people who really care about it. But I mean, does that suggest that it'll be changed from the federal the way it was written?
No, that's the intent, is to model it after. You can't do it exactly like the federal bill because the federal bill just refers to a bunch of code sections that are federal code sections. Mm-hmm. So in state bills, you can't refer to federal code sections because if they change, then you've changed without any type of legislative action. So it has to be standalone. 5 years later.
Yeah. On it.
Wow.
Abortion rights, or an abortion bill was touched on. A heartbeat bill, right? Was touched on a lot this session, and maybe surprising to some people. West Georgia right to life, Georgia right to life. I mean, they weren't fans of it. Mm-hmm. But I guess, how do you feel about that bill overall?
I think that
it changed it from 20 weeks to 6 weeks, I believe.
Well, when a detectable heartbeat, and there's two different ways that you can detect a heartbeat. Some hospitals have one way, some hospitals have another. Mm-hmm. So it can be as theoretically as late as 8. Depends on which detection model you use. And I understand that that there were organizations that were against it because there were a couple of exceptions in there. My thought process on it after seeing what's happened in New York and Virginia, that we needed to make a statement for life on that thing. So is it everything that anybody wants? No, but it's a step forward. Mm-hmm. It's a huge step forward. Anybody who sits there and says they can't understand both sides of the issue is not being genuine. Mm-hmm. And I can understand that the fear that a young lady may have when she finds out she's pregnant. But at the end of the day, I voted for those that don't have a choice.
State takeover of Atlanta's airport. Why should we care about that? Why should we be paying attention to this other than, it's one government taking over something from another government. Mm-hmm. But does this have to do just with not believing that Atlanta can handle it? I mean, based on some things that happened in the last couple of years?
Last couple of years. Yeah. Well, about the last couple of decades.
Predominantly in the last couple of years.
No. You can get one of those 3-inch 3-ring binders, mm-hmm. and fill it up with cases that have involved improprieties within the airport. And you go, oh, you're just trying to take their taxes from the airport. There are no taxes that come out of the airport. There are no taxes that come out of any airport, because by federal law, any taxes earned at an airport have to stay for airport and airport improvement.
Even for the restaurants and things like that.
It has to stay with airport and airport improvements. So then why are we saying that that's their ATM? Because Atlanta controls the procurement and concessionaire process. So they sell the licenses. That's where the money comes out of the airport. And if you look at the process, it's not the airlines or somebody else that are getting hit for doing improper activities at the airport. It's the procurement office in Atlanta that traditionally you'll see, it seems like at least once a year, sometimes it's multiple times a year, where somebody has violated, done illegal acts. Bribery is the latest one. So we wanted there to be oversight. We talked to Atlanta for this is not something that just popped up this year. This is a conversation we've been having with the city since Kasim was still the mayor there, and they paid lip service, and we said, look, let's take you back to the number of cases that have been brought up with the Georgia Ports Authority down in Savannah. And since the Georgia Ports Authority's been there, there's been one. And it was a custodian. And he was working there and working at another place where he wasn't supposed to be working. Mm. So that's the difference in the two. So the thought process with Senator Jones was, if it works for the Ports Authority, then why not do something like that with the busiest, as they put it, most efficient airport in the world?
That bill did not pass this session, but you expect to come back next session. It passed the
Senate.
But it didn't pass. I mean, it was not in law at this point.
I think it'll be a modification that comes back. Mm-hmm. I think there'll be an oversight committee rather than a takeover of the airport. And I think that has a stronger potential, but even the city doesn't want that. They don't want oversight.
We've got 2 minutes left in the program. There was a horse gambling bill. There was a bill that at least put together a research committee for horse gambling. I believe you're on that.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Beach.
Yeah. Okay, that's you guys will spend probably have 5 sessions and then present something December 1st of this year.
The sponsor of the study committee has the opportunity to select members, and so he got members that he deemed as non-supportive of his measure to be on the study committee. And so...
you say non-supportive. Do you see anything that could potentially change your mind or your opinion of horse gambling and money for the state?
I'll be shocked, but I'll see what comes out of that thing. But look around the country. This is nothing to do with horse racing. I enjoy watching horse racing. Mm-hmm. I'm not really a gambler, but I enjoy watching it. But every place in the state where they have it is either being supported by the state that they haven't failed, or they're racinos is what they call them. They're casinos that operate that every once in a while have a horse race. And I'm not sure we're ready to go there. How
about do you see yourself allowing a bill to be brought forward as far as casino gambling?
That's funny. Allow in the Senate.
Well, you do have the right to kind of just delay. I mean, you have to bring it forward, don't you?
No.
Okay.
No.
You can't knock it out.
Any senator can drop any bill at any time that they want. Now mine is if they drop it to try to get enough to try to get the language in there such that it will pass. That is my job. My job is not to tell people.
But if it's your job to do that, if you were against it, would it be your job to not put good language in there so that it wouldn't pass?
Well, my job would be to let them know, because there was one that was brought forward this last year, and to go back to the sponsor and go, you do not have the votes. Do not put us in this position, because you're going to go up there and argue for something that you're going to get beat on. Mm-hmm. And I fear they need to know that before they go to the well.
Mr. Dugan, I could talk to you for another half hour, and we do talk plenty, and I appreciate always you giving us input and pointing us in a direction. There's some cool stories that are being worked on, and appreciate you coming on this morning.
I didn't even get to go through my sheets or anything.
I know, I'm sorry. And they're nice, too. They're color-coded,
yeah,
separated nicely. But, hey, we appreciate you coming out this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate our listeners this morning for tuning into the News Talk 1330 WLBB Community Voice program. And remember, if you missed any of it, you can go back on our Facebook page and watch the entire show and check out Mike's good-looking jacket, or you can go to our website, newstalk1330.com. Have a great Monday, everybody.